Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Octavian and welcome to both Summoner's Rift and to another episode of Challenger Casts. Also, just generally welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while since the last video, hasn't it? Been a little while since I told you guys all about them onions. So I was down in Houston, Texas for a bit of a vacation, gone down there to meet up with the old ball and chain, but enough of that. Let's get back into the game here. I am back. The YouTube channel is still going to be running strong. No worries about that. And it looks like we have another cast on our hands. So let's get right into it. Let's first talk about some of the matchups here. Down on the bottom side of the map, it does seem to be a Gianna and Tristana, the rhyming bottom lane, versus a Thresh and Sivir. Not really as much poetic synergy going on there, but Thresh and Sivir certainly have a lot of in-game symmetry, even if their names do not align in quite the same way that Gianna and Tristana can. And looks like both sides are going to be starting at a jungle camp, actually. Thresh and Sivir choosing to begin at the Krugs, while the Gromp is started off by red team's bottom side. Doublelift and Dabong going to be picking up that one. It's going to be interesting to see Doublelift playing his Tristana this game. Don't get to see a lot of him in solo queue. Probably has to devote a lot more time to scrims and the like, as Geranimo has actually been pushed up to the top lane. Normally an 80 carry, still going to be playing an 80 carry champion at least. Up on the top side of the map is going to be picking up that Kalista, soulbound to his jungler. Interesting strategy that I thought I'd actually see more of when I heard of Kalista's release and how her passive worked, because it seemed like it would actually be quite useful for a solo laner to be able to throw the jungler at their opponent. Like, that seems incredibly powerful to me. As Think is going in onto Trashy here, trading a few auto attacks. Both Xerath and LeBlanc don't have the most impressive level 1s, but they're still going to be trading as best they can, as Geranimo doing some work himself. Doublelift leaping on in, does get exhausted. Jackstar having a tough time of it, turns around for the exhaust from Dabong, as Doublelift is working with every bit of health that he has, and he's managed to trade Jackstar down nearly to death, but Dabong is forced to flash away. There's Doublelift flashing forward, though the E is stacking up. The damage is there, and the explosion comes out. Delayed reaction kill. First blood for Doublelift, second for Dabong, and that is a 2-kill lead already obtained by red side down on the bottom side of the map here. Well played by Doublelift and Dabong, working with every single hit point they had to make those kills happen. And that is one of the hallmarks of higher level play. They don't get scared just because their health is going down. They get scared because they know they're in a bad situation. But sometimes you don't need a ton of health to be in a good situation. But right now, Doublelift is running out quickly. Actually, he managed to leap away from the flag and drag. Incredible reflexes there as Trashy is getting bound up. Dabong might not be as lucky as his AD carry. He is going to be the sacrificial lamb on the altar of blue team. And Jackstar will pick up a kill back for blue side's bottom lane and try to pick up in the farm race where he left off. Geranimo sitting in the bush here. Might be planning some sort of ambush onto Intense up on the top side. And he does have the range advantage, and it is very difficult for Gnar to land the CC here, the wallop at least, onto Geranimo, because he just has so much mobility, and he's so hard to escape from. Intense getting bursted down by the rend nearly to the ground, but he does have just enough health to be able to survive. Gets back to the safety of his turret, and heads on home back to base, but not before giving up more than 10 CS lead over to Geranimo. He's doing quite well on Kalista in the top side, and Doublelift with a kill of his own, the first blood already, as well as the assist off of the secondary kill in that lane. Doing well himself. So there's going to be two powerful AD carries as this game moves on. Geranimo trading anyways with Intense, even after he gets back to lane. He just went back to base. He used the teleport to get back into lane as quick as he could, and the instant he got back to lane, Geranimo went full on aggressive. He was at half health, and Intense was at full, but he didn't care. He chose to take that fight anyways. He knew he could handle it, and handle it he certainly could. Grigne coming to the bottom side of the map now. He's going to go for another gank onto this already dilapidated bot lane. They don't have summoners, they don't have health, and they give up a double kill, 3-0-1. Pickaxe already picked up for Doublelift. He is doing quite well. Hurlio coming to the top side is going to try and save Intense from this laning phase that has not been helpful for him. He is going to get the revenge kill, but in a desperate move, Geranimo manages to pull off the tower dive and at least trade 1-for-1 in what seemed like a horrible situation, making the best out of the worst. Think and Trashy, the one lane that we haven't spent too much time on, now seeing some action as Trashy is going to get bound up. Does manage to pop the LeBlanc passive, though. So he does trade that cooldown for some damage. And he's had a bit of a rough time earlier on. We did catch a glimpse of him, actually earlier, taking some tower shots there. Nobody's around to capitalize on it, but he does go pretty low. In the effort to push up that lane and deny Geranimo as much CS as possible, he's really, really trying to help Gnar out up on the top side of the map. Intense has had a really bad time of it so far. I mean, we're only 5-6 minutes into this game, and Geranimo has double his CS. If we were 2 minutes into the game and there was a 4-2 lead, that wouldn't be so bad, but it's 16-33. That is an impressively large distance for Geranimo to already have run ahead of his counterpart. And he's going to be doing a lot of work as this game wears on. Kalista scales incredibly well into the late game. Nice use of the distortion to escape from the W there, as Zion has no escape. Neither does Jackstar. Dabong going to take up the turret with his Eye of the Storm. And the Summoner spell's still down for bottom lane. Grigne, really good read on where he needs to be this game. Just continuing to apply the pressure where it was already starting to hurt for blue team. 7-2 lead right now for red. They've got 3,000 gold up on their opponents, and we haven't even hit 7 minutes. Trashy and Think both CCing each other at the exact same instant. Means that neither one will be able to follow up on the kill. I apologize for the FPS drop right there. Don't know what Fraps is doing, but sometimes it likes to cut me down for just a half second or so. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Grigne and Dabong, along with Doublelift, are going to be starting off the first dragon of the game here, 7 minutes in. Red team attempting to go for some global objective control, and Zion, none the wiser, is just going to try and get some vision control of his own, while the dragon gets bursted down by Grigne's smite on the other side of the wall. That is going to be the first dragon buff stacking up for red team. First dragon buff, fairly important, does give a pretty decent boon to whichever team is able to get it first. And Hurlio, having some trouble in his jungle, does use the ult to try and log up Janna, but there is a flash to escape as Jackstar swapped up to the top lane. He could not deal with Doublelift, but Geranimo really not that much of a better laning opponent to deal with. Geranimo had a great time of it in lane, and he's managing to harass down Jackstar already. He's got a 2-level lead, not to mention the fact that he's got a Bilgewater completed. There is a pickaxe, though, in the inventory of Sivir, and that is more raw physical damage, at least. And Sivir does very, very well with raw physical damage. Doublelift trying his best to just push this turret down. Does harass Intense a little bit, but it doesn't really seem to be his focus here. He's looking instead to just try and take that turret out, get the global gold for his team. Geranimo doing his best to dash around, does manage to avoid the hook, and that's going to be a lot of damage onto Zion without anything really to show for it. Nice boomerang. Does catch right at the edge. It does all of the damage instantly. The best way to land the boomerang is actually right at the edge of it. The same is true of Orb of Deception from Ahri. If you catch them with the very, very tip of the end of the skill shot, it does all of the burst all at once and is much harder to react to. Barrier actually popped from Trashy. He panicked a little bit there. Thought he would take a bunch more damage than he did. I don't know if the barrier was entirely necessary, but he did use it. That is a large summoner cooldown, well, down. And it's translating slowly into a lead in the mid lane as well. The entire map starting to fall like a set of dominoes, all in favor of red team. It's not entirely out of the question for blue team to come back from this one. I mean, we are only just about 10 minutes into the match. There is a pretty decent late game. Geranimo, though, throwing Grigne at Zion. He gets bursted down nearly instantly. The damage is insane. Trashy going into the tower. He autoed the tower. He leapt under the tower with flash and then turned and autoed the tower instead of the enemy champion. And so he went down in the end. He still got the kill. Had time for one more auto, but Doublelift is unstoppable. Leaps away during the Gnar ult. Nice sidestep on both the boulder and the wallop. And C9 Intense is just going to give up on this one. Leap on out of there. Everything whiffing. Now Grigne and Geranimo telegraphing this dive pretty obviously, but really, Jackstar couldn't do anything about it. He knew it was coming. He saw his doom on its way, but there was nothing he could do to stop the onslaught. And so he dies in the end to the combined power of Kha'Zix and Kalista. Another, well, not really rhyming, but at least alliterative laning combo. Ooh, red buff actually goes over to Zion. Very well stolen there, but I don't know if he's going to be able to escape with his life. Doublelift is going super aggressive. He really wanted that buff, but he's not going to be getting it. Not only does the red buff go to Thresh, but so does the shutdown gold. That is a lot going towards the support for blue team. Dabong will be able to get out of there. Not really much that can chase down Ojana once she's created some distance. As Think is going aggressive, does get hit by the hook, actually, from Zion's Thresh as he warps back with his distortion right into the face of a Jarvan, and the final right of the arcane burst from Trashy. And that's actually, that exchange overall is a bit of a misstep from Red Team. They've been playing the game very, very well up until now. Every lane been doing wonderfully well. But that right there was an overreach, certainly. Going for that red buff, especially Doublelift leaping in like that. Jackstar getting slowed up by the Cutlass is going to get ignited as well. And Geranimo, he doesn't care about the spell shield. He'll just keep landing auto attacks, stacking up those spears, wait for it to drop, and then instantly rend burst the rest of Sivir's health all the way away. Jackstar not really going to be able to handle that 1v1 as Dabong coming in with the ult aggressively onto Intense, knocking him back into the sights of Doublelift's cannon, and he is going to be taking down another kill, leaping away just for style points afterwards, just to get back to the minions that much quicker because he wants gold, he wants more gold, and after that he's going to find a little bit more gold for himself and pick that up as well. No point in wasting any time at all. Doublelift looking to crush this game out and move on to the next one as swiftly as he can. Always the goal of a pro in solo queue. Grignay and Think going for the blue buff. Think probably going to be getting this one donated over to him. Yeah, there's the 38 gold and the shiny blue runes, I guess? Yeah, those are runes. Looking closer, the shiny blue stone runes circling about his feet. That's going to help him in taking down more and more enemies, and it looks like one of them is going to be enemy Trashy. Doublelift going into the tower as well for an auto attack or two, but it looks like there's going to be some harass as Trashy is forced away from the mid lane, and the one lane that really did any well to speak of is Trashy's lane, and it's getting the brunt of all of the roaming focus from the rest of Red Team. Bottom lane is pushing up and roaming to mid. Top lane is pushing up and roaming to mid. Grignay is spending all of his time in the enemy jungle, so Hurlio really has no opportunities to come and try and bail out Trashy, the one lane that he could have some good effect on. And even if he could come and bail him out, I don't know how much of an effect he could have on it because it's against a LeBlanc, and it's very difficult for Jarvan to actually make things work there. Kha'Zix getting bursted down. Hurlio going an insanely aggressive damage build. Does a lot of damage, as we saw in Kha'Zix there, but doesn't have very much health to show for it. And that's going to be Think and Doublelift taking his health bar and taking it away, really. No more of that for him. He is going to have 0 of the hit points left. He's going to give up a kill. Another one to Doublelift, I believe we got that one, who is 6-1-3 right now, doing incredibly well. As the mid turret falls, the last outer turret for blue team does go down here 13 minutes in. Red team has a huge, undeniably huge advantage right now. It would take a lot of work for blue team to climb out of this hole. But I have some faith. I believe they still could do it. They have very powerful stalling tools in the form of Xerath. Long range wave clear that will be very, very helpful for stalling out this game, which is what they need to do, because right now they aren't winning it. There is no measurable way in which they are currently winning the game in any way, shape, or form. So they have to stall this game out, because if they don't, then they lose the game. They can't take fights right now. Ooh, very nice spell shield from Jackstar. Will stop the tornado, and that saved his life right there. That was the clincher. Had he missed that one, he would have been going down, but thankfully he did time it correctly. But it does mean that his turret's going to be going down, because even without the tornado landing, the amount of damage output that Dabong and Doublelift had brought him down to half health, even in just the space of a second or two. And he's no longer able to stay around and defend his objectives. Hurlio getting just danced around by Geranimo. He's dodging every which way. He is going to get hit by the Q, and there's the Rite of the Arcane. 1 dodge, 2 dodge. Can he happy feats his way out of all 3 of them. The Q will give him a leap away, but flash forward from Xerath into the Q will take Callista down. After all of that work, Geranimo in the end does die, but still beautifully played. I loved watching it. Too bad Xerath had flash. Ooh, nice lantern. Does spot out Grignay hiding in the bush, and he's going to spam laugh on top of the lantern, because that's what you do when you have this sort of map pressure. You throw it in your enemy's face, and you try and throw them off their game. CLG Think in the mid lane does distort his way out of some damage from Trashy, and we have hit a bit of a quieter moment, which honestly is an aberration in this game. There are 21 kills on the board, and there are only 15.5 minutes in which those kills took place. Intense is so behind, so incredibly behind, that Dabong is actually doing some, like, measurable damage to this enemy Gnar as Janna. And not even a damaged Janna. This is like a standard support Janna. Didn't build him a Jais or any of that nonsense. Just a support Janna dealt damage to the enemy Gnar as Geranimo is leaping around Herleo. There is no way for a Jarvan to lock up a Kalista. He just about escapes with barely any of his life left, but it looks like Think has different plans for his health bar, and it is entirely gone. As Trashy, the only member of blue team in the mid lane to survive that particular engagement. Doublelift split pushing up the top lane has completed an Infinity Edge, working on a lot of different things, actually. Looks to be maybe just holding on to a Vampiric Scepter for a bit of lifesteal to work off of those crits whenever he needs it in a fight, and going into maybe a Static Shiv or a Phantom Dancer, one or the other, with the dagger and the Greaves. Yeah, that is a huge advantage over the BF Sword and Pickaxe that Jackstar has managed to pick up. Jackstar, speaking of him, flashing under the tower, the Ignite, burning, will take away the last few hit points he had remaining after the 1v1 post-mortem kill for Kalista. Geranimo picking up his 5th kill of the game, will use that gold to finish off a Runon's Hurricane after already completing a play with Ruined King. That is an impressive amount of attack speed, and it's going to be hurting quite a few people. Dabong gets bursted down, Herleo doing tons of damage, however he is incredibly squishy, and the explosion from Doublelift will get him a delayed kill. Very nice Red of the Arcane, does actually land 2 shots onto Dabong's Janna, and that is enough damage to take him down as Trashy gets flashed forward onto one more auto attack, the ult as well. Doublelift is not messing around, and he picks himself up a triple kill for it. As well as a red buff right thereafter. Nobody's around to contest this, certainly. The majority of blue team is dead, and the ones that aren't dead are in the top lane, where they are going to be ganked very soon by a Kha'Zix. Intense actually walking ahead of his minions, takes some tower shots here as well. He does get the turret, but I don't see very many ways out of this one for him. The Chilling Smite will slow him up. The ult from Geranimo will get him closer. However, the W doesn't land because Intense flashed away, walked to the side, managed to avoid it. The boomerang toss backwards will slow down Kha'Zix, but from the side, LeBlanc is coming. There's the damage, though. LeBlanc not even necessary. Kha'Zix doing all the work for himself, and picks up a few hundred gold and goes back to pushing the lane. That is the turret down, and it's the first turret of the game for blue team, but that is a sparkle of hope in a nighttime of darkness. Red team has this game on very, very solid lockdown right now. Q over the wall from Xerath will nearly burst down Geranimo, and there's the stun. The damage from it, just enough. Xerath picks up another kill, and as I said, Trashy is the one hope for blue team. His lane did not get crushed during laning phase. Think, while still strong, is not absolutely destroying the map as we can say Doublelift is, or perhaps Geranimo is. But the thing is, that's just not enough power. And Xerath is much better at stalling out a game, at long-range continual harass, than he is at these team fights that keep getting forced on the blue team. Think, leaping over the wall, forcing another one. Doublelift is unstoppable, coming in and going right back out. He has no fear at all. He's playing incredibly aggressive, making use of all of that damage he has, coming to top lane, making some more use of it to dominate here with another kill onto C9 Intense. He's going to continue to push up the top lane as well after taking the kill. And he's always got something to do. That is the mark of a good player right there. Never a wasted moment. And Think is diving under the tower here. The LeBlanc passive is popped, and there's the shutdown actually going over to Herleo. Every once in a while, this damaged Jarvan build has been paying off for him. It might work again here in his favor. Doublelift gets bursted down very low. Red of the Arcane doesn't quite finish him off, though, and Dabong will sacrifice himself to try and save his AD carry. I don't know if it'll be enough. Actually, Herleo gets nearly bursted down as Doublelift was going to turn onto Zion. Flayed away. The damage isn't enough. Through the lifesteal, he dodges to the side of the queue. He finally goes down. Just an auto attack. No fancy footing your way out of that one, Doublelift. But good lord, he went down fighting. He did not give up any inch easily. And that's going to be Geranimo and Geranimo still pushing the top lane. They weren't even in the fight. Red team didn't even need these two. And that's got to feel a little bit bad for them. Their team fought without him, but they still get the consolation prize of an inhibitor, and maybe even the mid lane turret They're going to leap their way through there, over the wall, or just right through the turret range, as Geranimo chooses to do. No fear, no worries at all. Red team dominating control on the board. Just everywhere on this map, every lane won, every single gank was good and solid. This is a very, very well played solo queue game, and it's going to end in a surrender. Blue team giving up the ghost here. Their Nexus exploding. Thank you guys for watching. I had tons of fun. Hopefully you did too. And I will see you next time. My name is Octavian. Hope you enjoyed.